My name's Jeffrey St Laurent. This is the Tuesday Live show, and today's topic is, should I quit my business or should I continue to move forward? This is a real topic, and we're going to discuss this today because if you are doing the business the right way, you should want to quit on a regular basis. So with that being said, I do record all of these Tuesday Live shows. I put them on my university, on my website, sellingcoaching.com, where I help coaches transition to a full-time business. So I have some great resources for you there in my university. The first one I want you to check out is right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com, and that is where you enter your name and email address. I bribe you with my dog. But when you enter your name and email, you're going to instantly get access to, it's an audio training course, and it's launching your full-time coaching business, the first 3 vital steps. So you get access to that. That's also going to put you in my email community, and that's going to allow you to get some emails with me on a regular basis each week, not only for some great information, but, giving you some tips and strategies to go full-time, things like that, but also I want you to be able to see how I utilize email to communicate with my audience, an important component of our business. When we talk about business today, we're talking about it from a different perspective. So as a mentor coach, my job is to help you move forward with what you want in your business, to create the structure, the strategy, the marketing plan, everything, soup to nuts, so to speak, to move you forward, ultimately to get interactions with potential clients, help you with those sales conversations so you can get paid doing what you love. Now, my goal with that is to understand what you want to create for yourself. And today, as we talk about, should I quit or should I move forward? It's an interesting topic because as a mentor coach, my job is not to definitely help move you forward and create a successful business, because my job is to help you with whatever works best in your world. So yesterday, when I received an email from one of my clients, and I'll go through that in a second, and basically I hadn't worked with him in a while, and he was going through a lot. And I just I just write back to people like, how's it going? Give me an update. What's going on? Do you need any help? Do you want to get in the schedule? Things like that. And they wrote back to me and basically said they took a job and are permanently shelving their coaching business. And as a mentor coach, I couldn't have been happier because I felt like I did my job. And you might say, well, why do you feel that way? It's like, well, because this person is doing what they should be doing and they're happy doing it. Another one of my clients yesterday they actually sent me this audio message. Those that I mentor coach with, we interact via email, phone, and then we do some audio responses where we can have some good conversation in between our calls, where necessary. And they sent me this 20-minute long, message about, we've been kind of postponing some of the sessions, and they're in this space of kind of discovering where they're at and accepting their role as a mom of 4 kids and support of their husband who has a job. And still having passions for their coaching business, but they're going through some things there. And they're not quitting their business, but they're kind of in that phase where they're kind of doing some bare minimum things and they're okay with it. And so when it comes to quitting your job, quitting your business or not, one of the things you've got to understand, and this is the most important element of it all, and I'll start off with this so you understand that. The most important element to this whole thing is that you decide. That's it. You decide either way. And I'll pull back my Latin roots. I took 4 years of Latin in high school. I don't know why, but what I got from that is decide, side, the root side, C-I-D-E, literally means to kill off. So pesticide, suicide, you get the point, right? So decide means to kill off all other options, all other possibilities. To me, that's a decision. So the most important element to this whole thing is that you decide on a direction. It's just like our role as a coach when it comes to the selling process. It's our role to help a potential client decide yes or no. Anything in the middle, I need to think about it, I need to talk it over, I need to meditate, I need to levitate, I need to whatever. That's not where we want to be. Decide. So if wherever you're at, if you're going to quit, the best thing to do is decide. I've worked with plenty of clients who have kind of like, I'm just going to kind of stop it for now. And I'm just going to continue with my job and just give my coaching business a break. All right. Nothing wrong with that. The challenge that I found with that over time is that it kind of is eating at them because they never closed the door and sealed it, so to speak. And just because you close the door and seal it doesn't mean that, X amount of years down the road, you never think about it again or never look at it again. It just means that right now, like, you're not focusing on that at all, and it's not an option. That's the biggest thing. And so whichever direction you want to go. So the point is, sorry, let me finish that thought. Those people is they didn't close that door. So they were kind of like doing their job, and they're kind of like doing this. It's kind of like walking forward but looking back. Like, that's setting yourself up for failure because you're going to run into something because you're not focusing on any one thing. And that's the causes stress, right? Stress is caused by being here and wanting to be there. That's Eckhart Tolle, right? It's I'm in the future or I'm in the past. I'm not in the present. And I'm worrying about something that hasn't happened yet. I'm worrying about something that's already happened in the past, and I'm missing what's happening in the present. And that's stress. So the worst thing what we can do is we can be in anywhere but now and say, what do I want? What's most appropriate for me right now? And that's right. This is the whole timing piece. When we talk about selling, and I relate everything back to selling, right? Because that's what I teach as I help coaches transition to full-time business, selling coaching, right? It's all about the timing of everything. You've got to understand the timing aspect of it all. But more importantly, you've got to understand the timing aspect for yourself, and oftentimes we aren't honest with ourselves in terms of where we're at. And often we allow ourselves, in terms of what we're looking for or what we want, we allow that bright, shiny, whatever vision to obstruct us from what's actually happening now and what we're actually capable of now. And just because we're passionate about coaching, we've had this experience, however experience you've had, whether you've hired a coach, you went through a coaching school, it transformed your life, and oh my God, just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean you should be doing a business. It doesn't mean that. Like, I was in the fitness industry for, 15 plus years, and fitness in college transformed me physically, on the externally, and also health-wise, and also started working with personal development, my emotional state, my mental state as well. But it transformed me physically, and I went into that industry, and I was successful in industry, and I loved it, But just because you go on a diet and start an exercise program and drop 30 pounds and just, oh my God, and you feel alive, or you drop 50 pounds or 100 pounds, doesn't mean you need to go into the fitness industry and write a book and start doing seminars and helping other people do that, right? You can, right? I'm not saying that you should, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It's not for everybody at all. And it doesn't mean, you need a certain DNA or blood type to be an entrepreneur. It's not for everybody. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of anxiety with it. There's a lot of stress that's involved. It's very different from the stresses involved with a job or if you will, a traditional career path. And we need to understand how we work and how we operate to see if we have some of those elements. At the end of the day, I wake up and if I really thought about it hard, I don't know where my next paycheck's coming from. I don't know where my next client's coming from. I've got to have faith in my marketing system and the structure I've created and the results that I've created to know that someone's going to show up if I keep doing what I'm doing. But especially in the beginning, that's where I help people is I help them create that faith and create that structure when they don't know how and they haven't had the results to kind of lean on, or that can kind of be that anxiety pill so to sleep on at night because they haven't created that result yet. So it's uncertainty. But if you think about it, it's just like, well, I don't know where that's going to come from. And then the year after that and the year after that, and what if the economy changes, and what if this changes? And I just can't just show up in my office for 8 hours and get paid. Like, no one's doing that for me. And there's a lot with that. And there's a lot we must develop. And that's not for everybody, not for everybody at all, especially with what we're doing with coaching is we're selling an intangible product. It's one thing if you're selling a car or a blender or a tangible object, because people can obviously see or perceive value in that thing because they know, like, okay, well, I need a blender because I want to do this. I need a car or a water heater or whatever. So it's a different product that we're selling. When you come to coaching, now we're selling this intangible service. We're essentially selling ourselves. So then that meshes up and all intertwines, all like yucky sometimes with our beliefs of ourselves, because it's hard not to take it personal sometimes when someone says no, because like, well, we're performing this service. And part of it is just like, well, maybe they might not be happy with what we did, or they don't see the value in it because maybe we're not that good yet. Maybe they didn't have a great experience. Maybe we're not clear. Maybe we don't have our qualifying process from, first interaction to closing the sale, so to speak. And then even if we get them there, when we actually start coaching with them, there's a whole lot wrapped up in that. And I'm not saying all this to deter you. I'm saying all this because this is the reality. This is why I do what I do and why I teach what I teach, is I want to help you upscale yourself with the necessary skill sets to allow yourself that success. And especially in this business, we don't have any instant gratification whatsoever. Not that we have instant gratification in a lot of other areas of our lives. However, if in a traditional career, if you're saying, at the end of the day, you might not be getting paid what you want yet, but at least if you show up for 8 hours, you're going to get paid for those 8 hours, right? So even if it's not quite the position you want, or you need to get better at it, or you don't feel comfortable in your role yet, or the position, or with the people, or whatever, at least at the end of 2 weeks or a month, you've got a paycheck. So it's paying the bills, etc. Whereas here, we can be throwing stuff out on social media. We can be calling people out there. We can be trying to set up speaking engagements and do that and get nothing. Never mind even getting the opportunity to speak in front of people. So there's this certain resilience and an amazing amount of patience that we must develop if we don't have already. And I don't think one's born with instant patience. We're a baby and we crap ourselves. We cry. It's like, change this mess. I'm hungry. I cry. Feed me. We don't have patience naturally. So it's to me, that's a skill set we develop, and it's valuable in any aspect of our life, but especially with what we do here. And so should I quit or not? I'm just trying to give you some evaluations. I don't want you to quit. I don't want you to move forward either. As a coach, I don't care what you do. What I care about is what you decide what's honestly for you at this moment, and decide either way and say, okay, I'm shelving this now. Okay, I'm shelving this for the next year because I'm going to focus on X or Y and go for that. That's what I'm asking you to do. Or if you're going to continue to move forward with your business, commit to it, decide on it, commit to it. Don't half-ass it. Don't kind of like, oh, well, I'll just, I don't care if it's an hour a day, 5 minutes a day, 5 hours a day. Just whatever you have for your time, commit to it, put it aside, start to develop a structure. And don't kind of tiptoe around. Like some people, when I talk to them, and they're just like, well, I'm going to try this free option first, and I'm going to do this. And I'm not saying you need to spend money on just, do this with the website and do that. But it's just like, there's some certain things we need in our business, like commit to it. Like you got to go all in. You can't be like, well, I'm going to have a plan B if I fail. Like you've got to leap and trust that the net will appear, because you look down and you go, oh crap, there's no net. And you don't need a net, and you might hit that bottom really hard, but the greatest part about hitting the bottom really hard is, okay, what did I learn from that? And more importantly, with that valuable lesson, how can I then utilize that so the next time I jump, I don't hit as hard or fall as fast, or maybe I don't hit at all, and because I've learned from it. And sometimes it takes several falls, metaphorically, before we start learning with that, So what I'll share is this, going back to where I started off, my client, and I get this email, and I said, hey, basically, how are you doing? Haven't spoken in a while. And they wrote me back. This is the one that's kind of tabled their coaching permanently, and they're doing this job now. And I'm sharing this and starting to close with this is because there's a lot that this person said in the email, and I'll go back to our mentoring together, is when we were working together, there was always some internal resistance with this person. Like they were so passionate about coaching. They were so excited about it. they had kind of ideas on who they'd help with what specifically, but anytime we'd get them some structure, anytime we would get them, somewhat at least clear leaving the session, there was just, they would leave that and they would fall and they would stumble, and they never would really make some progression, or they would try a few things but never really get too far. And so it was always like this cyclical thing where they go forward a little bit and then go back. And then it's just like, we would do and talk about the same things over and over again. And I've had this with several clients over the years, not just mentor coaching, but even with life coaching as well, and general business coaching when I did some of that as well. When I graduated, I went through coaching school 2003, 2004 for the next 10, 12 years before I did this. People do this a lot, and while I was helping him and I coached him as well, we got to this space where it was just like never moving forward. We took breaks, we'd come back to it, get fired up and then just never get anywhere. And obviously this person had a lot of stuff going on in their world as well, family, personal, business, money challenges, things like that, earning money. They had a business separately, not a coaching business, obviously. And so we would revisit it, I would say 3 different times with some lengthy breaks in between. And so I was just like, hey, what was up? And they wrote me back and they said, thanks for checking in. I actually took a full-time role with this company as a manufacturing manager, and capital letters, I love it. They started back in May and already have been promoted. I love the structure of a corporation, the resources available, and the collaborative relationships I'm able to tap into. They have 20 people working for them, and they get to use their coaching. It's the best of both worlds. And, they're at a high level and interact with real decision makers, and they listen to this person. They were in organizations before where they didn't have that, and it was stifling. And now they have it, and they're excited. They said, I speak up loud and often and fight for what I want and what's right. And then the best thing they wrote was, I'm tabling, probably permanently, the coaching business. Now, if you notice, there's the probably permanently in there. And the interesting part is that's just that last bit of, I just can't say permanently because I don't want to say it. But the reality, what that says is I'm tabling permanently coaching business. It doesn't mean they won't ever think about it, but that's the reality. And they say, yes, coaching, personal development is a passion of mine, but so isn't leading others and influencing them and building successful teams and highly effective operations. And this person had fears about selling themselves, and it was a huge obstacle. And they still have that fear at the place where they work now, but the difference is he's taking small steps and stretches forward and working through those fears, and they're growing. And, thanks so much. Thanks for reaching out. You're a great coach and friend. Hope you're well. I always recommend you to those who ask. This was like the best email I could have gotten, because like I said, they decided and they moved forward and they're tabling their business. And that was right for them. And I've had other people over the course of the years that I've been mentoring where it was kind of the same thing. It was this back and forth. And it was just an inner challenge. It was stuff that's going on in their lives. And whether it doesn't mean that they were not a good entrepreneur or a great, it doesn't, we don't have to attach anything to that. But at some point you just had to come to this space where they're just like, I'm done with it. And that's okay. There's a saying that winners never quit and quitters never win. And that's incorrect, because winners, we quit all the time. We just got to know the right things to quit. And it might be something small in your life. It might be quitting, a relationship with a friend that doesn't serve you. It might be quitting conversations with somebody. It might be quitting a small habit of eating something that is not healthy, drinking Coke or Diet Coke or something like that, because it's the right thing to do. And it might be even quitting something that on the outside might look good, or maybe that you're passionate about. Maybe you're working out all the time, but you're injured and blah, blah, blah. Like I had to go through that with my knee surgeries that I've had over the past couple of years. And it's just like I was working out and training at a certain level, and it's just like I kept getting injured. And I'm like, I got to just like quit this for right now and like take care of myself, And so that's something that I had to quit, even though it was something good and healthy. It doesn't mean I'm not working out or never working out again. I'm coming back in and finding different ways that I can start to get my fitness, etc. But I had to quit. I had to quit because it wasn't serving me. And so that's what we're looking at right now is you've got to look at, what's the most important priority in your world right now. And yes, we always have different priorities, but at the end of the day, we've got to look at, I like to say the 3 main areas of our life. This is my book that I wrote about being fulfilled. It's just like there's 3 main areas that we're constantly striving for, more and better in terms of our relationships, mostly intimate relationships. And then there's our career/business. And then it's our health. I'm not talking spirituality, religion, or anything like that. Like, I know there's other important areas, but those are the 3 main areas that people are constantly striving for growth with. But you can't focus on all 3 at once, because focus is not plural. Foci or focuses, you sound retarded saying that. I sound retarded saying that. It's focus. It's one. It means, anyone who has achieved greatness in any area of their life, they sacrificed a lot in other areas because they focused and they put consistent effort in more than enough time in that one area over a long period of time. And that's a reality of what our business takes. And yes, can you have small amounts of time and it's not your main focus? Absolutely. But you got to make sure you have a consistency over time that you have there, and you create a structure. And you've also got to come to terms of what your expectations are. You've also got to create work the muscle of patience within that, expectations of where you can go with it, and also what that means to you, because you can only create so much when you do something a little bit at a time. So if you've got large expectations, large income goals, things like that, and you're only doing a little bit, well, it doesn't mean you can't achieve that. It just means it's a start to build a foundation. At some point, something else is going to change where we can start to increase the amount of time and effort and energy and learning that goes into that work. And so these are some things that I want you to evaluate. But again, I want to come full circle as I conclude this, is to say wherever you're at, you've got to really take stock of your timing of it all, and you've got to decide. And you've got to decide in a direction. And don't decide again by looking back while doing this. It's just like, okay, I'm done. I'm stopping this, or I'm continuing forward with this. And when you do something like that, you let people know. When you speak it out to the world, words have energy and words have meaning, and we need accountability with that. So whether you're continuing to move forward or you're tabling it, you've got to speak it out there, and you've got to let people know, because that's part of a decision. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. We still got a bunch of people on. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching live. We got some great people on there. Before I go, I will say that if you are in a position where you need to have a conversation about this, or especially if you're moving forward with your coaching business and you're deciding on that, you've cut off all of the possibility, but you need some help. And that's why I do what I do as a mentor coach. And the timing is right for maybe some help with that. Consider hiring me as your mentor coach, or at least taking a closer look at how I could help you if you were to do that. And if that's something you're considering or want to learn more about, go to sellingcoaching.com and fill out the form at the bottom of the Work With Me page. I'm going to reach out to you. I will actually call you, and we can create a relaxed conversation, and we can decide kind of where you're at, if the timing's right, and decide where we go from there or not.